Hey there folks, do you ever watch a Leo DiCaprio movie and ask yourself, who is this man? What does he do in his free time? Well, today we find out what's wrong with Gilbert Grape. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and today we're breaking down the top 10 dark secrets Leonardo DiCaprio is hiding. Number 10. He feels no pain. Leonardo DiCaprio is an incredible actor and has been known to keep his cool on set even when things go horribly wrong. In the film Django Unchained by pediatric enthusiast Quentin Tarantino, DiCaprio played a plantation owner named Calvin Candy. In one particular scene, Leo is so deep in character that he slams his hand down hard on a dining table in anger. Moments later, his hand is gushing blood as he had just come down right on top of a wine glass that was not supposed to break. Despite his hand being sliced open though, he not only stayed in character, but it was reported that he barely seemed to be in any pain during the ordeal. He just got stitches and he kept filming. As someone who's almost lost their finger before, your hand being ripped open does not feel good at all. It's extremely painful. The only logical explanation to this is Leo has used his millions to get some kind of a nerve blocker, allowing him to no longer feel pain. This would explain his ability to stay calm and in character in even the toughest of situations. It's either that or I'm just a wuss and don't handle pain well, I don't know, tomato potato. Number 9. He's poisoning the ozone layer. Leonardo DiCaprio has been open about his views on climate change for a long time, even taking time during his Oscar and Golden Globe speeches to drop some climate change knowledge on Hollywood and the world. It turns out that he may not understand the logistics of how jet fuel works. You see, Leo is a frequent flyer when he's traveling, but he's usually in his own private jet. Despite being a climate change activist, he flies across the planet in what looks like an expensive plane with a hefty fuel tank. On top of that, Leo drives a normal car and his massive house is powered on the same electricity as the rest of us. If he was really trying to save the planet, he'd make more radical changes. He's rich. Why hasn't he installed solar panels on his roof and gone off the grid? Well, because secretly he doesn't care. He's happy to drive and fly when he pleases. Come on, Leo, just aim a tank of fossil fuels at the sky and let her loose. Might as well. Number 8. He paid the Academy for his Oscar. In 2016, Leonardo DiCaprio finally won an Oscar for Best Actor in a leading role for his performance in the film The Revenant. He played a character named Hugh Glass, a frontierman on a fur trading expedition in the 1820s who fights for survival after being mauled by a bear and left for dead by his own hunting team. His performance was pretty good, but honestly there wasn't a ton of dialogue from DiCaprio as he spends most of the movie alone in the woods. He grunts and screams in pain a lot though, and apparently that was good enough for Best Actor. When you compare Leo's performance to that of his fellow nominees from that year though, there's a very clear difference in quality. The other contenders that year were Eddie Redmayne in The Danish Girl, Matt Damon in The Martian, Bryan Cranston for Trumbo, and Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs. These performances were arguably 10 times more compelling than Leo's, especially when you consider his past. Leo has been nominated for an Oscar 7 times throughout his career, with his first one coming in 1994 for his role alongside Johnny Depp in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. If you've never seen that movie, watch it and you'll realize that he got snubbed. He was nominated for his performance in Wolf of Wall Street, The Aviator, Blood Diamonds, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Any of those should have guaranteed him the win, but he lost time and time again. In 2016, it felt like the Academy was either forced or paid to give him the award, because not only was his reaction minimal following his name being announced, but he had a whole climate change speech like ready to go. I don't know, it's a little sus, just a little. Number 9. His preference in age. It's no secret that Leo's dating life has been filled with mainly younger women. In 2022, someone took the time to deep dive into Leo's past and created a literal chart of former lovers, as well as their ages compared to his own. According to the chart, between the ages of 24 and 44, Leo has been in 8 serious relationships, and all 8 women were significantly younger than him when they met. At 24, he met Gisele Bundchen, who was 6 years younger than him. His next girlfriend, Bar Rafley, named after the place her parents met, was 20 when she started dating Leo, who was 30. Between all 8 women, the oldest ones made it to 25 before Leo called it quits. Now there is no way that this is a coincidence. 3 women were dumped after they turned 25. It's like Leo had some kind of a sick need for the person he's with to be generations behind him. He's never come right out and talked about his preferences, but like, why would he? How would that conversation even go? Yeah, I keep a minimum of 20 years younger than me and the number grows by 1 every year. Yeah, Gross. Number 6. His mental health. Leo is one of those people who classifies themselves as a method actor. For instance, in a famous scene in Wolf of Wall Street, Leo's character took too many happy pills and has to drag himself across the floor in a haze of substance and spit. To prepare for this role, he interviewed several people with similar experiences, and he would rehearse his physicality over and over again before the scenes. Now, while that's not a great example, this one is. Anytime Leo has to play a character with some kind of an emotional detachment or mental health issue, he's been known to completely isolate himself from the world. For his role in Shutter Island, he played a detective sent to an asylum on a remote island to investigate the mysterious disappearance of one of the inmates. The film is wonderfully dark and full of mystery, right up to the final reveal, which I won't spoil just in case you want to watch Shutter Island. To prepare for this performance, Leo isolated himself in an apartment for 3 months and had it set up like a police precinct. He even hired a ghostwriter to give him fake crimes to solve so he could really step into the mentality of the role. While this may work for many people, the facts are that Leo has become more reserved over the years, and he speaks with a very low volume and tone now. Did all that isolation make him go crazy for real? Probably. Number 5. He's immortal. A celebrity's birthday party. It's some of Hollywood's most exclusive events. You really gotta know someone to get invited to celebrate their birth. At Leo DiCaprio's 48th birthday, a number of A-list celebrities were in attendance. LeBron James was there, Rami Malek, Scott Eastwood, Mario Lopez, people who seemingly have nothing to do with Leo. Except one thing. You see, there's a dark corner of the internet that's dedicated to the idea that Hollywood elites are actually in a cult and make sacrifices to keep themselves rich and young. Leo is definitely on the list of possible members, not only due to his activity in the climate change community, literally trying to alter the air, but his never-aging face. Many older actors in Hollywood have young faces. Just look at Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd hasn't aged since 1991, which must have been when he was inducted as the leader. There is some evidence supporting this theory. Leo only dates younger people, and famously, younger people are popular for sacrifices in film. His so-called friends are all frozen in time, and let's face it, some of these people sold something to someone to magically gain their fame. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Casey Affleck. Number 4. Bad friends. The Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation auctioned off dates with 2 of Hollywood's biggest predators at their annual fundraising auction in 2015. YouTube won't allow us to say these people's names anymore or show their faces because that's just how terrible these people were. So to help put a face to the situation, they were 2 of the men that were brought down by the Me Too movement. They were like the first ones, and one was a producer for Quentin Tarantino, the other one was the lead of House of Cards. So for the purposes of this list, we will refer to them as Jabba the Hutt and Spaceman. Should be pretty easy to differentiate the two. The foundation auctioned off a chance to spend a year working and enjoying private time with Jabba and Spaceman. In hindsight, this is one of the weirdest things a person could bid on. It doesn't matter who the people are, you're basically just paying to have famous friends for a year. Leo brought these men back for this event several times. Now, while it was before the allegations of their misdeeds were confirmed to the public, Leo was very close to these men for a long time. He worked with Jabba on several big budget projects, and he's been close with Spaceman and his family since his early 20s. Gee, I wonder why Spaceman wanted him around. With these being some of the people he's associated with, we can only imagine the other people that he might keep secret in his life. He's a man of wealth, influence, and power. The idea that his friend list and the Me Too list are one and the same, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. Number 3. He inspired Home Alone. Leonardo was born on November 11th in 1974 in Los Angeles. He was an only child growing up, and his parents, Irma Lynn and George DiCaprio, have been pretty vocal about his rowdy behavior growing up. From a young age, it was obvious that he was going to do something creative. They recall him constantly running around the house, impersonating people, and doing little sketches for them from time to time. One thing they pointed out, though, was that Leo had a tendency to pull stunts on his parents with elaborate traps and contraptions. His antics were first mentioned in the early 90s while doing an interview with his parents. Coincidentally, a little holiday movie called Home Alone was made not long after that. It's a film starring a kid using elaborate traps, contraptions, and voices to take out the bad guys trying to invade his house. And to trick a pizza guy for some reason. I don't know, that scene always seemed cruel to me. Is this a coincidence? I don't think so. It wouldn't come as any kind of a surprise that some Hollywood hotshot heard this story and molded it into the classic flick that we know now. His parents called them antics. But if Leo did anything even close close to Kevin McAllister in that movie, ooh, he has definitely ended some lives. Number 2, Don's Plum. No, this entry is not about a man named Don and his obsession with plums. That's gonna be another list. Today we're talking about Leonardo's greatest regret. In 2001, he released a movie titled Don's Plum, starring himself, Tobey Maguire, and several more of his younger male friends. The film has been banned from ever being shown in theaters in the US and Canada. Why? Well, this was basically Misogyny the movie. The plot centered around the crew meeting up once a week to discuss their recent romantic escapades and overall life experience. Oh, they also bring a new girl every week and just treat them like absolute garbage. This film is filled with terrible dialogue, graphic depictions of violence against women, with Leo's character even going so far as to threaten a woman with a glass bottle. That particular scene is very intense, but what's more intense is that the dialogue in the scene was improvised by DiCaprio on set, meaning that behind his calm, quiet demeanor, there may be a truly horrifying man. No normal person would have said the things that he said in that moment, so seriously, check him out. And number 1, he's immature. In 2013, Leonardo DiCaprio played a character named Jay Gatsby in the movie adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's 1925 novel, The Great Gatsby. The plot centers around the titular character who has been throwing extravagantly lavish parties at his home without anybody knowing who he actually is. People just show up to the party and never wonder where or who their host is. It would appear that this role was meant for Leo, as he's been known to throw a mega bash or two in his time. The problem though is DiCaprio's real-life persona is much more immature than his on-screen counterpart. According to past partygoers, Leo has been known to go hard. While he's never taken any illicit substances, he really likes that no-no juice mixed with a little bit of OJ. His behavior has been erratic, and he's apparently very easily excitable. This is unfortunate to hear, as Leo is normally very well spoken, and with being an active member in the climate change community, you'd think he'd have like the mentality of a 70-year-old Harvard grad. But instead, he's apparently more of a Kyle, mentally speaking. If you know, you know. And those are the dark secrets that we know Leo is keeping from us. What secrets do you think he may be hiding? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for checking out our content, and be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy what you see. We'll see you next time.